our commitment here is to provide you with timeless principles, biblical principles, and universal principles that will enable you to build healthy and successful relationships so that your children can grow up in environments that, may not necessarily be perfect, but healthy for them to also build and create healthy homes. So today, I'm going to take it a little bit further. So get ready to write. Get ready to take some notes, and I hope you can quickly invite your friends because we're going to be taking it to a whole new level today. Agreement is fundamental to the success of every relationship, whether it's a marriage relationship, it's a business relationship, ministry relationship, whatever kind of relationship. The first thing we do is to agree before we journey. Before we begin a journey, it's critical that we agree on quite a number of things. It's not just about agreeing that we're heading in the same direction. It's also about agreeing how we're going to work together and work together as we journey to that future. Agreeing on our personalities as what makes us unique, and then accepting our differences and celebrating our uniqueness. We need to agree on that. We need to agree on the fact that, yes, we may be two individuals coming together into one marriage or one relationship. It is critical to know that we all carry different aspirations, and relationships become healthy when the relationship becomes a platform for the expression of the individual's aspiration. Meaning that in this relationship, my dreams are coming to pass. Yours is coming to pass. And ultimately, my dream, your dream, now becomes our dream. Whatever I accomplish is for us. Whatever you accomplish is for us. It is critical to know that it is in that kind of environment where there is what we call self-expression, self-actualization. When individuals feel actualized in a relationship, that is when you say we are having a healthy relationship. We're just laying the foundation for today's conversation. So don't forget what I started with. Amos chapter 3 verse 3. The Bible says two cannot work together except they be agreed. That is a converse application of that scripture. It is not enough to acknowledge how beautiful you are or how handsome the guy is. It is critical that you agree on purpose. Why were you born? Why are you alive? What do you want to accomplish? Purpose. You need to ask the question of purpose. You need to also ask the question of identity. Who are you? So it's critical. Few things you need to agree on. Let me write this down. It's important that you take note of this very quickly. Number one is what we call identity. Identity. You need to, who are you? I'm not talking about your tribe, your race, and all of that. Who are you, essentially? A confused.com cannot give you direction. An individual who is confused internally, an individual who doesn't know who he is, how will that person walk up to the altar and tell you, I do, when he doesn't even know who he is or she is? So make sure that you ask, even if you're married, somebody saying, but Pastor Sam, we are already married, what happens? It's critical that you redefine, because engagement becomes stronger in marriage when definition is in place. Write that down. Engagement becomes stronger in relationship when definition is in place. When I know who my husband is, when I know who my wife is, our relationship becomes stronger. And if I know who I'm about to marry, it also makes it easier for me to relate to the person. So either way, whether you're single or you're married, you never can have a successful relationship without an understanding of who the person is. Question of identity. Number two, question of purpose. Why are you here? Nothing will satisfy the craving of the human soul except that for which the human soul and the person himself or herself was created. Nothing will satisfy the craving of the human soul except that for which the person is created. Meaning, when God created an individual, God created the person for a specific purpose. Now, it's critical to know that until the person accomplishes that purpose on earth, nothing, sex will not do, money will not do, cars will not do, houses will not do. Nothing will satisfy the longing of a human soul except that for which the person was created. Isn't that a powerful word? Nothing will satisfy the craving of a human soul except that for which the person was originally created. It is called the question of purpose. Why are you here? It is dangerous for you to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't know why he's here or why she's here. Because if somebody doesn't know why the person exists, the person will pursue everything. And the problem with pursuing everything is that the person will waste resources, waste your time, waste your emotions, waste your energy. Because today he's in this direction, tomorrow she's in that direction, tomorrow he's pursuing this one, push money in that area, gets tired of it, move in that direction, push money in that direction, get tired of that, move. And so ultimately the person is going to waste resources, waste your energy, waste your time, and ultimately waste your lifetime. Then the next thing we have to do is a question of vision. In relationship, it is critical that you're able to engage your partner in such a way that the two of you are able to have a conversation around what do you want to accomplish in the future. Not just why are you here, how is the world going to be different because you came. By the time you are dying, by the time you are leaving this world, how do you want to leave the world? How is the world going to look like because you came, because you engaged, because you got involved? So it's critical to understand that the question of vision is critical. How do you want the world to look like? Question of vision. What is the ultimate destination that you aspire to get to? What difference do you want to make in this world? What change do you want to create? Whose tears do you want to wipe out? Whose burden do you want to carry? Whose battles do you want to fight? It's critical that you engage whosoever you want to marry on this critical subject. It's called the question of vision. Not only that, you have to ask a question of mission. What will you be doing every day? So that you see, if we're in relationship together and I know what you're going to be doing every day, watch this carefully. Mission gets you to vision. The fulfillment of vision gets you to accomplish purpose. Purpose must never be in separation from your identity. So you can see how interconnected they are. We call them the spine. Once any of this is missing in the pursuit of your life's goal, life is not going to be as meaningful as you want it to be. So mission, what are you doing every day to get to where God is taking you to accomplish your ultimate vision, which enables you to accomplish your purpose on earth? From mission, you go now to objectives, your goals, your strategy, your task, what you do every moment in order to accomplish your mission. You need to have this conversation with whosoever you want to get married. That's why I said two cannot work together until you be agreed. So these are the things to agree on. In case you've not been able to get a syllabus, nobody has been able to show you what to agree on, and we just keep telling you agree. So this is it. Identity, agree on purpose, agree on vision, agree on mission. I mean, there's nothing wrong with also agreeing on budget. Your budget will vary along the time, along life, as you grow, as you engage the more in life and all of that. Your budget is going to vary. You have to agree on all of that. Let's quickly move into our conversation today. Why do we always have repeated crises in relationships? Why do we always have repeated crises in relationship? Now, don't forget what I told you yesterday, that repeated crisis, it happened. Listen, I know some of you are, you are in this situation. We had the same problem last year around this same time, and we're having it again around this same time. The devil is a liar. Something is wrong. Now, we had the same problem about 2 months ago, and we're having the same problem again 2 months after. The same problem. And then we're having it again now. I mean, it's just repeating itself. I know somebody understand what I'm talking about. This thing just keep repeating itself. It's like a recurring decimal in your relationship. You talked about it, but it's still repeating itself. Every problem is powered by a pattern. If it has happened before and is happening again, stop looking at what is happening. Start looking at why it is happening. There's a pattern behind the problem. And until you deal with the pattern behind the problem, you never deal with the problem. And so what many of us are trying to do is to deal with the problem. No, wise people look for the pattern. We're going to see why these cycles of crisis happens in relationship. Number one, every time there is a crisis in a relationship, there is always what we call an initiating factor. What always initiates or leads to the repeated crisis? Let me say something here. There's what we call problem-solving analysis. Now, you can't solve a problem if you don't follow this kind of thinking. Number one, if this thing keeps repeating itself, this conflict, this quarrel, this fight, this challenge, this pending issue, this money problem, this sex matter, if it keeps repeating itself, then the issue we need to deal with is, what is it that normally initiates or leads to this repeated crisis? Why do we always have this particular problem? Wise men ask why. Ordinary people talk about what. Ordinary people talk about what is happening. Wise people talk about why it is happening. Number two, you don't just say what is leading to this. Why? What initiates it? There's always a trigger. Something always leads to this. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Meaning, when you see the reaction, is because there was an initial action. Put it another way in physics. Physics will tell you that every body will continue in a state of rest. This board will remain like this. This a laptop will remain the way it is until I exert a force on it. So when you see the laptop moving, it is, stop looking at the laptop, start looking at the force making it to move. In the same vein, if there is a crisis, a conflict in your relationship, stop looking at the conflict, start looking at the causal reason, the driver behind the movement. Why is the car moving? Something is making the car to move. And until you are able to identify the driving force, the car will keep moving. So it's critical to understand that the conflict in your relationship, the challenges you're dealing with, whilst you keep your eyes, he look at you, you always shout. Now, very good, you just made it. You always shout. You always fight. You always insult. Next thing you need to ask is why. It's critical you understand why. And then for everyone watching me right now, it's also important to ask yourself, why am I always... See, an unexamined life is not worth living. Write that down. An unexamined life is not worth living. You are going to be the major source of repeated cycle in your relationship if you don't examine yourself. How do you always behave and react when there is a crisis? You see, that again can be a major reason why the crisis repeats itself. When there is a crisis, how do you behave? How do you conduct yourself? How do you react? Then the next question will be, how does your partner react and behave to the way you react and behave? So you see, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So your behavior in a crisis can trigger a behavior in your partner. That's why we say study the pattern so you can understand the problem. And then you need to ask yourself, how does my partner's behavior make me feel? How does my partner's behavior make me see myself? And when that kind of a crisis exists, question I want to ask, particularly if you are the causal reason for the crisis, if you are the one that triggered it, do you regret? Do you make statements like, I'm sorry for what I did? Do you show regret? Do you repent? Do you apologize? Or do you go ahead and resolve the matter? Say, come, let's work it out. Or do you go ahead and you defend yourself? You defend. You are defensive. Or you withdraw. And you are the cause. And you withdraw. What that will do is that it will make that kind of situation to repeat itself.